and he's got a little round piece over there with a little bitty hammer, and he's pounding it out like so.
Testing. Hey, I think we have sound now. All right. Welcome back to the channel, Greg Colombia, and welcome to another Coffee Time live here in Armenia, Colombia. Sound good now? Yeah, sorry about that. Every once in a while, this thing will reset certain things, and I don't know. It's I don't go over. There's a lot of settings, so I don't go over every single one. You know, they're supposed to not change, but it changed. Unfortunately, it's happened enough now. I've kind of figured a lot of them out. Okay, you'll see I'm here alone. Dan was supposed to come in. The cities in Colombia thing was his project. I don't know, maybe he got cold feet, maybe he got tied up in traffic. I really don't know. But once I begin, I don't answer the phone. I don't open the door. For all I know, he's standing outside my door. I don't know. But he knows that. So we forgive you. Thank you. So you're stuck with me alone today. The cities of Colombia. I'm not sure I'm going to how to handle this because it wasn't my project. Fortunately, the three cities I set up first, I've been to all three. So maybe I'll just go over a couple things, or maybe I'll call on you guys. If you've been to Bogota or Cartagena or Cali, to task you with putting in your comments of your opinions, things you like, didn't like, and maybe we'll just kind of do a discussion of it. I don't know exactly what he had planned. So, but I got a bunch of things to go over as always. First of all, it's about 74 degrees out. We're gonna have a high of 79, a low of 62. Pretty much the same every week, right? Year after year. Varies a little bit. All right, what else we got? Colombian peso. Last week it was 43.43. So we went up 43.44. It did go down to like 4,300, I think, for one day. But you get that. You know, it's gonna bounce around a little bit. All right, what else we got? Oh, a couple comments that I got, same thing I want to address. It's only on the YouTube channel. You're seeing these little clips from Coffee Time, anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds up to maybe 3 minutes. This is an experiment that I'm doing and it's all AI that's making the decision of the clips. It's posting them up automatically. I am not doing it. I just gave it permission to do it. And so I'm getting some people complaining, oh, it cut off and this and that. Well, take it up with AI. It's simply an experiment, and it's only being run on YouTube because I don't really give a crap about YouTube anymore. I'm getting a lot more people on Rumble. It's actually started monetizing me. Of course, it'll be pretty ridiculous for the first year. I think right now, over the last few weeks, I'm up to $7.16. So once that gets to $100, it'll pay out. So, it's, but hey, at least it's something. At least it holds hope for the future, because I've been a little stressed because of the delay in the coffee. As you know, that was supposed to be up in December to sell the coffee. And profits from the coffee, we're going to subsidize the channel because, everybody's getting hit with the inflation crunch, and contributions are way down. They're about half of what for about 3 or 4 years, they ran consistently right about the same amount. People would come and go, but it would run around the same amount, and it was just enough to cover the cost. I'm at the point where it's not covering the cost, so I have to pick it up. And I swore I'd never do that, but I'm just kind of hanging in there so that the coffee profits can cover the cost. But that kept getting delayed. Now we're looking at the end of this month or the first part of February. Everything's done. I'm just waiting for the bags to arrive. there was a lot of changes because of the bureaucracy. And so anyway, so that's the thing with the AI clips. If you were wondering, if you don't like them, just disregard them. I was curious, so I'm just kind of trying it out. And what happens on YouTube, I honestly don't really care much anymore. If it works out well, then maybe I'll apply them over on Rumble. So far, it's appearing that the AI isn't all that brilliant. Although I do appreciate the AI, because you may have noticed for the last couple months, it's been creating all of my thumbnails. So when you look at the thumbnail, like today, it was a big map of Colombia with some pretty girl in a bikini pointing up at the map. That was all AI. And so I appreciate that. I said, what did I say? A sexy, pretty girl pointing at a map of Colombia. And it took it from there. All right, what else we got? Outside video. Let's take a look outside. It's pretty gorgeous out there. Blue skies with lots of cloud cover. Very, very nice. Okay, let's see. Turn that off. And before I get to some updates on what's going on here, that school in Cauca, I've got some updates on that. I've got some news items. Let's take a look at the chats. Let's see, I have practically no chats in YouTube. Doesn't surprise me. I think I've got 35 people over there, maybe. Here on Rumble, we've got Yuka. Thank you, Yuka. Thank you for the contribution, as always. It's appreciated. I want to say that for whatever reason, I ran into some information on Finland, and which is where he's from. And it was pretty fascinating. I love history. I've never really paid a lot of attention to Finland, but it piqued my interest what ran across my desk. And so I looked at a couple other things. It was pretty fascinating. I didn't know that the highest ranked, most efficient, most successful sniper in history was from Finland, in Finland. First taking out Russians and then taking out the Germans. I think the second highest, aviation ace in history from it went from World War I up until current, but the second best ace taking out the most planes was somebody from Finland. It was just, this isn't about Finland. It was just pretty fascinating. And a lot of stuff that I just didn't know, which is rare, because I go down so many rabbit holes. I know a little bit about everything, but I realized that I really hadn't paid any attention. And so now I got a new rabbit hole to go down. Andromeda Surfer, greetings from Peter back in Belgium for now. How you doing? What else we have here? Wendia, Mr. B. Nick, how you doing? Rob, good morning, Fort Lauderdale, 101 days. Man, we're almost down to 2 digits. Turtle, yes, it's true. Good morning. Dr. Charles, hello from Monteria, Cordoba. 90 degrees here. Oh, too much. Then we got all the no sound, no sound, no sound. You'll have to do the entire intro over again. And I did, mostly. Sounds good. We forgive you. Which AI app do you use? I use a lot of different AI apps. I'm not sure which one you mean. If you mean for the clips, it's, God, I don't know. Starts with an O, I believe. I'd have to look. I've been, for the last 6 months, I've been playing with so many different ones. For basic information, ChatGTP is awesome. I'd almost be willing to subscribe to it. But for the thumbnails, I'm using Canva. I've tried a lot of different ones. And while some are better in some ways, Canva is just the easiest, quickest to use. For the video clips, I don't recall off the top of my head. New York retired. Hello from Binghamton, New York. Waiting for the PC vortex. I'm missing Armenia. Bill Beebe, how you doing? Get back here. Miss you guys. Of course, if we go to the coffee meetings, I'm not allowed to go, so we'll have to meet up separately. Go Buffalo. Absolutely. Go Bills. AI app for the thumbnails. Yeah, I'm using Canva for that. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the best one, but it's absolutely the quickest. I could just put in a few words and it comes up with 3 or 4 suggestions, and there's always one there. The other ones, you have to write out a lot of, like a paragraph or 2 of specific information, and make a lot of corrections because there's a lot of stupidity in AI. It's like, the more you play with it, the more you realize, so far the ones that are available to the public are really kind of dumbasses, but there's use for them. So I'm glad they're there. All right. Buen dia, Mr. Ben Lake, my neighbor. How you doing? I want to mention Rob, speaking of, he sent me an email and he said that there's been a change. If you want the specifics of that change, send me an email and I'll attach it. But if you're overseas currently, once a year, once every 2, I think it's every 2 years, you're required to basically prove that you're alive, so you keep getting Social Security. And it's always been pretty cumbersome because you'd have to actually get a document and ship it off and drop about $50 to do it. Hope we get to the right desk on time, because if they don't get it by a certain deadline, they cut off your Social Security until they receive it, and then it takes time to turn it back on. I talked to one guy a couple years ago that for whatever reason he was running into some problems, and he went without Social Security for, as I recall, it's like 3 or 4 months. Put him in a real bind because that was his only income. I think he said he was living on credit cards and air. So anyway, there's been a change. You can now do it by telephone. They'll do, I guess, an interview, probably ask for, what was your first automobile? I don't know what. They'll ask certain identifying questions. Did you have a bank account? Which city? Or, those kind of things, I would imagine. And so that's good news, because that you can handle pretty quickly. The other way is still there, but this is now an option. So let's hope it stays in place. Sounds like a good option for me. Okay, so there's that. As you know, Sharik has been here. This weekend, she had, we'll say, an emergency, but it wasn't like a bad emergency. She had to leave Friday morning, and she'll be back tomorrow because, and I think she actually had to go to college, but I'm not sure, because her grade, she just finished at the university, and the grade report wasn't there when they did their graduation ceremony, which is bizarre to me. But she got the grade report about a week ago, and she was all excited. And it's because it was very high, 4.8, and it just very high, except English. She sucked at English. She got a 4.1, but everything else was like maxed out or close to it. Well, it turns out she had the highest in her class. And so they told her, come back. They didn't know she was here, but they didn't say come back. They said, show up at this address at this time, and we have an award for you. So, awards are a big thing here. You'd never pass them up. So she went back to get it, And it turns out it came with a cash prize of 1,000,000 pesos, which is pretty freaking awesome. This girl's getting rich. I'm telling you, she's making money hand over fist with her coffee. I had to take her to some financial thing to pick up money from her latest order, and she had to go to the bank and deposit it. And I don't know how much exactly it was there, but it was a wad of cash like that. I said, "Oh my God!" so good for her. War heroes like Simo, that's the guy. Our OFC, interesting. Maybe you want to watch. I've been watching a few things, and I didn't realize it, but there's a movie out that I saw in the last year or so that I'm sure it was exaggerated, but I think it might have been based on this guy, and it was an awesome movie. I don't know what country it was made in. Maybe, I don't know if Finland's making a movie. It was a really cool movie. And I'm not sure, but it might have been based on this guy. He's like a superhero there. But if you read some of his exploits and some of his statistics, it's crazy. And so you got it right there in the chat. You can take that name and Google it. It's worth it. It's worth looking because the guy was superhuman. Anyway, what else we got? The school update. While she was there, she took a video. I don't know who contributed or how many people contributed last week, but she said that she got contributions off of that video. She also got 3 local contributions in addition. So she wanted to thank you, and whoever contributes going forward, whoever has contributed, she says, if you can, email me just kind of like a photo, because at the end of her updates, she's starting to put the donors, their picture in there. Now, I know generally people on this channel like to remain anonymous, but I'm just putting it out there. They would like to see it. So there's that. What else I got? Oh, yeah. Oh, last week, she, this is not, she's got too much money. She decided that she wanted a garden. Well, I'm living in an apartment. I was thinking about moving. I've changed my mind. I'm going to stay here for another year, just because of availabilities, which actually just seem to open up. But the rent increases and things like that. I stay here, it'll be next to nothing. So, even though this was too expensive, it's kind of balancing out. But she decided that I should have a garden. Now, she put up on one balcony, she's got a hummingbird feeder, which has been fascinating because I can see that sugar water is addictive to these guys because they're cleaning this thing out pretty quick. But in the other balcony, she's put up a little garden, and I took a video here. Okay, here's the garden. We've got sunflowers, some kind of flower. These will be strawberries. There's a whole bunch of strawberries. That's strawberries. That's a blueberry. Here we got oregano, basil, and on the right, those are tomato plants. Obviously too many, but good way to start. And a wind thingy. Now, she knows that I love strawberries and blueberries, but I get really aggravated because they always pick them too soon here. So you got the base of the strawberries, it's all that white, which doesn't carry flavor. I'm sure if they don't do that, then, they stick around long enough to where they start to mold or something. I don't know, but it's a pet peeve. So she got a bunch of strawberries and she created the seeds for them and she's planted them. There's probably hundreds of strawberry plants that she's got in there. And she was showing me pictures. And the reason she's got those two up higher is that they will actually grow over and hang down and grow strawberries off it. So I'm going to have a whole bunch of strawberries that I can pick whenever I want. And she, in that one pot where it's blueberries, she took some blueberry, because I love blueberries too, and she put a bunch of seeds in that. Now, those are all just a few days ago, so I expect to be sprouting over the next couple days. So I'll keep you informed on that if anybody cares. It's pretty cool. She loves to play in the dirt. She sat out there forever. It's like, don't you just put the dirt in the pot? And no, she's got to pretty them up, and she aerates it, and I don't know what all she does. So let me give you an update on the school. All right, first she sent me this statement. Look, there's a video I'm going to play. As you can see, here is the second video of our campaign for the school. The first video showed the current conditions of the school. In this video, you can see how the community and children's parents came together to clean up the banana and corn orchards. It's normal for the children to have these type of orchards since this is a school with an emphasis on agriculture. At the end, when there's a harvest, the children collect the proceeds from the sales and use them to go on field trips or other educational outings to zoos or parks. This was done with a lot of love and dedication. The community is committed to cleaning and organizing the school as much as they can and with their resources. They will help us. In other words, they're going to be doing the construction as materials come in so that very soon we can repair the roof of our school, which I found out it was a way bigger disaster than that last video made it appear. Might as well not be a roof. Anyway, and leave behind the terrible conditions it was in, as you have been able to see. And let me play the little video that she put together.
Bienvenidos a nuestra campaña Creando Sueños de la Escuelita Nuevo Carbonero. Aquí está toda la comunidad y padres de familia Nuevo Carbonero organizando y limpiando toda la escuelita, especialmente el sector agrícola, ya que la escuela tiene un énfasis de huertas que los niños utilizan a pan coger.
Cada tanto muero y aquí estoy. Tantos desiertos que crucé, tantos atajos esquivé, tantas batallas que pintaron mis heridas, tantos incendios provoqué, tantos fracasos me probé, que no me explico cómo canto todavía. Siempre voy detrás de lo que siento.
That's her mom.
Cada tanto muero y aquí estoy. Por esos días por venir, por este brindis para mí. Seguir siguiendo al corazón y coquetear con la intuición. Seguir creciendo y esquivando las rutinas. Seguir soñando en un rincón. Seguir creyendo que hay un Dios que me enderece de un tirón la puntería. Siempre voy detrás de lo que siento. Cada tanto muero y aquí estoy. Tantos desiertos que crucé, tantos atajos esquivé, tantas batallas que pinté.
Gracias a toda la comunidad por hacer posible esto de Nuevo Carbonero y a los donadores. Gracias a ustedes por dar su granito de arena y también contribuir en este gran sueño.
I don't know if you caught it last week, but the place was overrun. It's a huge area and was overrun by weeds, tall grass. And so if you saw that, you'll see they did an awful lot of work there because it's all, hand tools. They don't have weed whackers and things like that. A note here, Happened to me a couple times here in Belgium, as I'm 6 months there and 6 months in Colombia, referring to the Social Security problems. Yeah, it actually catches a lot of people. I'd like to think that they made this change for that, but it's probably some other reason for themselves. I don't know. But whatever it is, glad. I have twice the people in Rumble as I have in YouTube. That's awesome. Got a good trend going. All right. So that's a school update. I think that was it. All right. This one's, yeah. Oh, let me put that up. That's any contributions. That's where it goes to PayPal. Where is, there it is. If you want that up at any time, let me know. I'll post it up a little later. This was just hilarious. It came in on my news feed. This was down near Central here in Armenia. Check this guy out. I want what he's having. First, I thought he was playing Frogger. Towards the end of this, there's a big old truck. It looks like it first swerves towards him. That's crazy. Sharika's getting her driver's license, so I showed her, well, that's what you're going to have to contend with. Just got a message in YouTube from her. Hello, thank you, Lauren, for your support and helping this great project. Here, everyone in the community is watching the live broadcasts. We're very happy, even though we don't understand very well. And my nephew is a translator. Well, that makes sense. Her English is pretty much non-existent. I think she's got 5 words in her vocabulary, and she mispronounces 4 of them, which is why she got I'm actually surprised she got a 4.1 in English, but she got the big grades, so that's the important ones. I guess that's what matters. But hello, everybody there. I wish you well. Hopefully you get it all taken care of. All right, let's see what else we got. A little news here in Armenia. We've got informal employment remains a challenge in Colombia, and Armenia is no exception. Wish Dan was here right now. This would be a good conversational thing. But when they say informal employment, they're talking about people out on the street with their vending carts, or people that are just kind of walking around selling gum, or jobs that are essentially under the table, so there's no health benefits or contributing to the Social Security system. And about half of the population falls into that category. Owen, thank you. Owen put the PayPal link up there in Rumble. Let me see if I can copy it over to YouTube, if it lets me. Yes. Yep. So it's in both now. So anyway, where was I? Informal employment. So recently there was some changes to the employment laws, the official employment And a lot of people in the government, it barely passed, and the details don't matter, but it was one of those things where governments think that they're doing something good and it ends up backfiring. And this was one of them. The informal employment actually grew because the changes were put more burden on the businesses that were doing things legally, bringing the employees in and working the right hours and paying them the right money and signing them up, paying for their health care, all of those things. And the government passes this thing where it puts more of a financial burden, and some people lost their jobs, hence informal employment goes up. Governments are really slow to figure this stuff out. But it's very difficult here because you don't really have a much of an administrative state. So if you're an employee and something happens at your job, you don't really have recourse to run off and file a complaint, have it acted on, and have an outcome. There is a process to do this, but everybody pretty much knows you're kind of wasting your time because nothing will come of it. So it's, they have a ways to go. Fortunately, people that are doing informal employment, basically creating their own income, they're not messed with. And so I appreciate that. At least they let people get creative. Hugo, good morning. Reflecting on your career and life experiences, are there any decisions or path you feel you might have approached differently? Man, there's a question. I don't know. I would be torn on the answer for that, because where I am right now, I wouldn't want to change it for anything. I mean, you can't even get me out of the country. Rob, he was buying me a ticket and giving me a car to drive and a place to stay on the ocean, and I thanks, but I don't want to leave. But if you take item by item by item, there's a couple things. I was offered a crazy job at Boeing when I got out of the military. Insane amount of money to work for Boeing in Virginia, and I turned it down. I was offered a job in Japan for an insane amount of money. A guy that I was drinking beers with in a club or in a bar, he was impressed that my Japanese was very good. He kept going on and calling people over. It turns out he's the owner or CEO or whatever of this huge corporation. He invited me to visit him. So I go down, and there's this huge building, and he's on the top floor. Turns out that skyscraper was his, and it was an import-export business. And he offered me a job to work with England, Australia, and the United States as basically, the ambassador to those countries, and inform them on cultural things that were obstacles to their success. And that was a really tempting job. It's just I had other plans, but the wage, the benefits, all of that, the travel to some of my favorite places, it was hard to say no to that, but I said no. Throughout my life, I've had opportunities come up, but I've never made the decision based on the money it would bring. I would base it on other things related to my life. And I was offered a job at Penske in Phoenix, Arizona. Penske there owns, this was back when I was in management for car operations, and Penske has the Ferrari and the Lamborghini and the the Bentley and all of the top brands in Phoenix. They're all owned by Penske. And he had this, he actually wanted to hire me to come in and solve a massive problem. He had a 150,000 square foot repair operation that was losing a ridiculous amount of money, and cars were taking 1 to 2 years to get in and out. And so he invited me down. I only met him. He just turned me over to other people. And I almost took it simply because the challenge was delicious. But they wined and dined me. They took me to this. I've never been to the steak restaurant where the only light was on the table, and there were 5 of us at this round table, and everything behind us was dark. And it turns out that there were 5 waiters, 1 behind each of us. And if you dropped a crumb, they would just kind of step up like little waiter ninjas and sweep it off the table and then step back into the shadows. And the place was just crazy. They offered me a choice of any of those cars. You get one every year. At the time, it was $150,000 a year salary, plus the commission would have worked out between $250,000 and $500,000 a year. Not commission, bonuses. So the money was awesome. And the challenge of it, because I went in there and I could see where these issues were. And I knew that I would be successful in doing that. But I didn't want to go live in Phoenix, Arizona. I actually had some other plans, and I ended up moving to North Carolina for probably a fifth of the money. But I was very happy in that decision. So, everybody's life, you go through this thing, it's like, yeah, on one hand, maybe, but you have to look at it through the prism of where did you end up? Where are you right now? And if I knew that I would hit 71 years old and be as happy day after day as I am, set aside the fact, I get some health issues and, we all know, but that's life. And it doesn't matter what decisions I made, I'd still be coping with some of those things. But, cancer wouldn't have cared. So if I'd known that I would have ended up, and not that I'm done, but as happy as I am every day, where I am and things that I'm doing, I wouldn't have taken the chance to change anything. So, there are things, looking at it in a micro sense, of course. The curiosity, the import-export business, I think about it sometimes I wonder how that would have gone. I don't regret it, but I wonder, what would have happened if I'd gone to Boeing? Because there were secretive aspects to that position that were tantalizing. There were certain things in my background when I was in the military. It doesn't really matter what it was, but who doesn't like a taste of adventure? That would have been cool. So, would I change anything? Nah, basically no. Well, a long way to get there. I think I scared everybody away. No, people still here. All right. So what else we got? I did the traffic news informal. I talked about that. Just started here in Armenia as of tomorrow. Actually, in all of Quindio. This is something that's not common throughout Colombia, but they have a school lunch program now in effect, which is pretty awesome. I appreciate how little they tax, but for the money that they do tax, they actually put together things that are useful to people, and this is one of them. Because you get out in some of the countrysides, when you're running about 20% of people that are living at the poverty level, and about 5% that are living at the severe poverty level, And Quindio is not, immune to that. You like to see things like this, because you can't really learn and better yourself if you're sitting there hungry. Okay, so there's that. I want to mention this. I got in my gas bill. Here we go. And my gas bill this month, and what's gas? My hot water and my stove and oven, $3.38 in pesos, 14,711 comes to $3.38 for the month for my gas bill. My electric thing kills me. It's usually right around $50. But I also got my water bill. And my water bill is 41,140, which is $9.47. Now it's funny because you live in this economy, and I'm usually to myself, I get the water bill and I go, oh, damn it, so freaking high. Well, then I convert it to dollars and I put my brain back as though I were living back in the United States. I would have killed for a $9 water bill, and that's trash too. So, yeah, when you live on the economy and you're living on Social Security, and we figured out mine's not even as much as Turtle's, and his isn't all that great. You live in this economy, and mentally you're completely part of it. And then if you take yourself out of it and kind of imagine if you were back in, living in the U.S. and stuff, I mean, who wouldn't kill for a $3.38 gas bill for their house? My gas was $200, electric $600 for a total of $800. Welcome to winter in New York. Oh my God. My last house in New York before I moved to North Carolina, I left there. When did I leave there? It was in the 2007, I think. I think that was my last winter there. And I had a house, and my heat bill was almost $2,000 on my last month. Now, granted, it was a particularly cold spell. I don't think it got over 10 degrees, but we had some minus 10 kind of thing. And the heat requirement exponentially increases. To those who've never lived it, you don't really understand how cold really is. But if you stuffed yourself in the freezer of your refrigerator, you'd think it was a summer day. So, go Bills. All right. Now this one, I think I may get involved in this. When did an electric bill become as much as a mortgage payment? Yeah. Well, they didn't, because the mortgage payments went up the equivalent amount. Okay, so I think I want to do this. Barbecue is becoming a thing here. And it's announced, and I have until January 28th to sign up. So just a week. Here in just south of Armenia, the first national barbecue tournament. They're going to have approximately 40 contestants. They figure there'll be about 10,000 people to show up at this event. I can go sign up for this and do some barbecue. I can do some barbecue. I don't know how good these are. So judging from my travels around Colombia, they're probably pretty good. Maybe there's one or two that are like, wow. But for the most part, I don't imagine they're all that great. They've got 50 million pesos in prizes. The first prize is 20 million pesos. That's a pretty nice chunk of money. That keep this channel going for a while. So I'm thinking about doing. I ran it by Sharik. She's coming back Monday, and she says absolutely she'll do whatever. She'll be my cooking assistant. So I want to find out more information. Are they doing pre-cooking? What do they have for equipment there? I kind of need to know what this is going to be. But if I have a chance at doing well in this thing, maybe I'll sign up for it. It's a public social thing, and I'm no fan of that. But hey, 20 million pesos. Maybe because I'm not Colombian, they might give it to somebody else anyway, but who knows? All right. And where it's located, some of you might recognize this area. It's about halfway between Armenia and El Aden, the airport. And what this is it's kind of a resort. You can rent places here. If you notice all the little swimming pools and jacuzzis and all that kind of stuff around there, but it's got this park in the center. They've got guards at the front. So I always thought that this was strictly private, but it's being opened up for this event. So that's really cool. And there's a website to register on. And here's the website. I don't know how long it's been. Let me... upcoming event. So I'll check that out. I guess this is the guy who's putting it together, I'm assuming. He's probably famous chef here in Colombia. Follow us on Instagram. It looks like it's been going on for a while. If you want to know the website, if you live here and you're interested in that, shoot off an email to me and I'll send you the website. I don't have it at hand. I didn't think about that. Okay. So what else we got? It looks like we're on to the topic that wasn't my topic. How are we doing for time? Oh, well, we don't have that much to go anyway. I only got about 10 more minutes. So we'll see what I can go through here. I'm not sure what he had in mind, but I like the idea in general to talk about different cities. Now, his idea was to start off with the big ones. Today it would have been Bogota, Cartagena, and Cali. And next week it would be Medellin and Barranquilla, and I'm not sure what else. But I've been to most places here, and so I felt I could contribute to a lot of these. I've never been to Barranquilla though, or Santa Marta. But it's a pretty cool idea, especially if you start getting down to some of the smaller ones. When we talk about Manizales, Armenia, of course, but there's a lot of places that are these kind of sizes that I think would be interesting to discuss. So this is what I'm thinking about today. If you've been to Bogota, Cartagena, or Cali, if you would please write a comment about your impression of it, something you liked, didn't like, just write some kind of comment. Think of it as a conversation. I will read it. I'll make my comments and like that. Let's start off with Bogota. So he sent me some pictures he wanted to show, just a couple of each city. It's huge. And that's the thing for me. I've been to Bogota, maybe at least a dozen times, maybe more. Most often I've been in and out of there in like overnight and then the next day. A handful of times I took some time to go around and explore. One time I was there for about a week. That was quite a while ago. So I have my impressions, but for me, I mean, it's a huge city. What, you got 20 million people or something? It's ridiculous. So, for me, that's a deal breaker right there. But I will say that Well, there's much of Bogota I've never seen. I've seen a fair amount of it, and the area near, not on top of, but the part of Bogota where the U.S. Embassy is located, there are some barrios there that are, I would say they're pretty upscale. There's some really good restaurants. The biggest issue for Bogota for me is it's just so damn expensive. It's crazy expensive compared to everything else, except maybe Medellin. It's just, I would say in general, it's more expensive. Now, if you talk to a local person that lived in Bogota or somebody that lives in Bogota and they're living on the economy, maybe in stratus 2 or 3, maybe even stratus 4, probably not, but 2 and 3, they actually can be more successful than a lot of places financially because it's such a huge place. Once you learn it, you can find places to buy like your basic fruits half the price of maybe where we get it here in Armenia, and other things. So, you know, if you know it and you live in more modest places, you can live pretty frugally. But if you live, you know, like where I'm living here, I would be probably double the cost. And then everything nearby is going to be higher priced, you know. So that's my thing about Bogota. It gets cold as hell. It's one time I was with somebody. We went to a movie theater and we were walking back. It was like 10 blocks. We were walking back. It was at night. The wind was blowing and it was about 30 degrees. But the wind, it was just wicked. It just kind of blew through the coat and wasn't a heavy coat to begin with. And we were pretty freaking miserable. And about halfway, we ended up grabbing a taxi and going back. Bogota can get really cold. Barbecue here would be better if they just something about long time low temperature meat is good. Well, yeah, there's that. Well, for example, if you get barbecue ribs, they all use the same grocery store barbecue sauce that's marginal at best. If you want a good barbecue sauce, you really need to make it yourself. So that's one of my things. Like here, I can get some barbecue ribs that just fall off the bone, you know, good, but they're drowned in store-bought, too sweet sauce that all has the same flavor, like what is it, Hunt's barbecue sauce kind of flavor, and I'm just not a fan of that. Some of my favorite is actually in North Carolina, the Eastern, which is vinegar based. It's not a red sauce at all, and I absolutely love that, especially with pork. I mean, pork and vinegar, pork and apples, it just goes so well together. If I do this barbecue thing and they have a couple dishes, I'd probably do one as a North Carolina pulled pork. The other one I'd probably do as slow cooked ribs, but with a barbecue sauce that I would make. Okay, I'm not getting any comments on the Bogota thing, so maybe we don't do this today and we try it again next week. I mean, I'm sorry, he's always shown up. I just don't know what he had in mind, and I just don't want to go off in a different direction because I like the idea. Gil, love the north of Bogota, including Chia. But why? but tell me why. All right, how we doing here? Well, we're running to the end of our rope here anyway. I'm afraid all I do is fly through the place. Yeah. I can't speak too much as I primarily have been there for paperwork, though I do have several Colombian friends who just love the place. Yeah, it's there's a real, if you're from Bogota, you have a superior attitude and nothing is better than Bogota. But if you're from anywhere else in the country, you're sick of people from Bogota with their superior attitude thinking that they have the best place in the country. I've seen that over and over and over again. It's just human nature. I've been to Cali, Barrio Santa Monica and El Norte. It's a nice neighborhood. South of Cali is the trendy, more expensive side of town. With respects to Bogota, I like whatever that is. I can't pronounce it. Yeah, Cali. Everybody knows. I hate Cali. I don't hate Cali. I just don't like hot weather, and it can get very muggy and uncomfortably hot there. Now there is a barrio. I can't think of the name right now. It's along the river. It's south of the bus station. And it's to the west of the river, west or south of the river, and it's all treed area, and I wouldn't say it's top tier financial area, but I would say it's a good middle class area. And I've spent some time there, and if you're not in the direct sunlight, if you're walking in, a lot of that neighborhood is under big trees, very shaded. So if you're walking down the sidewalk and you've got that shade thing going, it can be pretty comfortable there. And apartments in that area, because of the amount of trees and how mature they are, it's not all that bad. I could actually live in that area without feeling like I'm dying. And it's also a very nice area. There's a lot of stuff there. It's very popular for nightlife. So I don't know if I'd want to hear the nightclubs, but they have a lot of fancy ones, like top floor outside of a building. There's a big nightclub. All that does is project music all in a wide area. People love their noise. Why does Manizales is not that popular? I hear it's a great city. My favorite city. It's a fantastic city. For Manizales' sakes, let's keep it that way. I'm tempted to go spend a year back there again, just because I really liked Manizales. It's just I like here better. So moving, I got too much stuff. This whole studio it's really exploded. I mean, I got enough here for 4 people all at once, which in the future I have some plans for. So, but moving this would be a nightmare. Another reason I'm going to stay here for another year, because there are a lot of dining options. We are somewhat food snobs. Oh, in Bogota, yeah, best food in Colombia, probably Bogota. Now, it's not that there aren't places that are good. Let's say the quantity of the best foods in Colombia, I'd say you'd find in Bogota, Medellin a close second, and then everywhere else that kind of falls. Here we're probably mid-range. We've got a handful of really good restaurants, and then everything else is kind of mediocre. The key here is knowing which ones are good, and if you want to go out for a nice dinner, you go to those. Yeah, you could probably count them on both hands. Now, I'm not talking about Colombian food. I'm talking about in general Italian food or Japanese food, things like that. Colombian food here, we've got Quindian food, which is somewhat unique from the rest of Colombia. And we got some killer restaurants for authentic Quindian food and for Colombian food. As a matter of fact, there's one restaurant north out of town that may be some of the best traditional Colombian food anywhere I've been in the country. Robles. Anybody that's been around here, you know Robles, so you know what I'm saying is true. All right. We've hit that time. So we could take a minute, talk about the Buffalo Bills. Here's hoping. It's a tough road. I watched a little bit of the game last night with the Lions and Washington Redskins, or whatever they're calling themselves. And Washington, they've been playing like that. They look like a juggernaut. They look like as good a team is out there. I think the Bills will probably beat the Ravens. They have in the past, and they had a lot of injuries throughout the year, especially early on, and those people are all back. So they actually have a defense again. They've had no defense most of the year. So they've actually got a defense again. Their offense is as good as anybody. So I think they'll get past the Ravens, but and I think they'll get past the Chiefs, because the Chiefs, they're fielding a team that's really, they keep winning, but they're not that great. They're winning by scheme, not by talent. So I think they'll get past there. So if that all happens and Bills are in the Super Bowl and they have to play against the Washington Redskins, man, I don't know. Those Redskins looked pretty damn amazing. Bills versus Ravens is going to be a great game. Can't wait. Yeah, people are saying this is like the game of the year. This is the game. This is the highlight. I don't know. Whenever they say that, probably won't be, but Bills versus Eagles in Super Bowl. Well, that would be cool. But did you see Washington? Was that a unique game? Or have they been like that? This is the first I saw them, and I didn't see all of it. But I looked at I watched the NFL clips afterwards, about 14 minutes, where it goes through the play highlights, and they were unbelievable. Washington Commanders, yeah, whatever. There'll always be Redskins in my brain, just because my brain doesn't adjust very well. I did hear they're thinking about going back and changing their name again, because all these Native American tribes anywhere around the East Coast, they hate that it was changed. They want the Redskins back. Eagles own Washington. Really? Well, I'm glad to hear that, because I think the Bills would be a good matchup with the Eagles, and the way the Redskins or Commanders played last night, they just seem like varsity team against grade schoolers. Barranquilla has some really good Middle Eastern food. Yeah, I kind of missed that. We have like 2 restaurants here, I think, and it's kind of crap. It's just not very good. Dan the expat, I was there before 11, but your phone was already turned off and security would not let me pass. I turned my phone off at 7 minutes to 11 because I have to position things, and if I was going to be here alone, I had to switch everything around. And then at 5 minutes to 11, I start the live streaming. I don't answer the door when I get within 10 or 15 minutes of having to start, because I have a lot of last minute things I have to do. As you know, you see me do it. So it wasn't intentional. I would have preferred that you were here, but it just got so late that I didn't really have any choice, unless I just didn't start when I was supposed to, and I try not to do that. Hello from Malta. Interesting. I hear that's a benefit to retirement place. There's benefits to it. It would seem a little restrictive unless you have enough money to travel from there. And then I think you have great access to Italy and Greece and things like that. Okay. Anything else? Okay, that's it for the chat. Dan, we'll work it out. I'm not mad. Hope you're not. I just it just gets to a certain time. I have no choice. I actually waited longer than I ever wait. But then I just had to go, and I turned my phone off so it doesn't, ring in here, because I can't really have conversation once I go live. All right, that's it. So, did I cover everything? There's that PayPal again. Think about contributing to this. It's absolutely a worthy cause. And that's it. So go Bills. I guess they're late afternoon or maybe this evening. So for now, I'm just going to grab lunch and relax a bit. I got up at 5 o'clock this morning preparing for this, which is my usual 5 to 6 o'clock. And today I wasn't actually ready until about 10:45. I was hustling around. So thank you all. I appreciate it. And see you next week.
Oh.